These are the opening notes of Appalachian Spring, the magnificent orchestral suite that received the 1945 Pulitzer Prize for Music, announced last week. In just under 23 minutes, Aaron Copland, the composer, captures an American ideal of hard work, thrift, nationalism, pastoral life, and prosperity. The music includes swells of brass and an innovative collection of percussion instruments. The music and ballet arrive at a time when America is seeking solace from years of economic hardship, death, and crushing authoritarianism across the globe. An Appalachian Spring promising rebirth is the perfect balm for these dark days. How did Mr. Copland come to write this music? Why did it receive the recognition bestowed by the Pulitzer judges? And how does it define a moment in American history? We will explore those questions on today's show. But first, listen to the music. The idea of asking Aaron Copland to write Appalachian Spring came from Elizabeth Sprague Coolidge, the noted arts benefactor and pianist. Miss Coolidge, listeners may recall, has made considerable financial contributions to the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, Yale University, and the Library of Congress. In June 1942, Eric Hawkins, a dancer with the Martha Graham Dance Company, wrote to Ms. Coolidge with an idea to commission a work for the Pennsylvania-born Ms. Graham. Ms. Graham followed with a letter to Ms. Coolidge. "It makes me feel that American dance has turned a corner," she said. "It has come of age." Thus inspired, in 1943, Ms. Coolidge agreed to the commission and paid Mr. Copland $500 for what she called a dance piece. She worried that the dollar amount would be too little, but seemed confident that the possibility of working with Ms. Graham would be just compensation. That turned out to be true, as Ms. Graham and Mr. Copland, who met in the early 1930s, developed a fondness and respect for one another. In his letter to Ms. Coolidge in reply to the offer of the commission, Mr. Copland said, "I have been an admirer of Martha Graham's work for many years, and I have more than once hoped that we might collaborate." Ms. Graham and Mr. Copland talked about the music and how it would become the foundation for a new ballet. Said Mr. Copland, "After Martha gave me this bare outline, I knew certain crucial things, that it had to do with the pioneer American spirit, with youth and spring, with optimism and hope." Mr. Copland titled the piece Ballet for Martha. How it became Appalachian Spring requires some explanation. Mr. Copland admired Ms. Graham's choreography and asked what she had decided to call the ballet for Martha. "Appalachian Spring," she said. Copland described their conversation this way. "Oh," I said, "what a nice name. Where'd you get it?" She said, "Well, it's the title of a poem by Hart Crane." "Oh," I said, "does a poem have anything to do with the ballet?" She said, "No, I just liked the title and I took it." Mr. Copland originally scored the ballet for an ensemble of 13 instruments for the debut in the small Elizabeth Sprague Coolidge Auditorium at the Library of Congress. He later arranged the piece for a full orchestra, which is the piece that won the Pulitzer Prize. The orchestral version allowed Mr. Copland to add more complex instrumentation, including brass and percussion. The addition of horns, trumpets, trombones, timpani, glockenspiel, xylophone, triangle, clave, and woodblock opened the orchestral music to innovation that was not present in the original 13-piece construction. The Pulitzer Prize is arguably the highest honor for journalism, literature, biography, poetry, and music. This year, the jurists for music were Chalmers Clifton, Otto Luning, and Henry Cowell. Not surprisingly, Mr. Copeland has relationships with all of the jurists. Mr. Clifton and Mr. Copeland worked together at the League of Composers. Mr. Luning and Mr. Copeland helped establish the American Music Center, which promotes new American music. And while their approaches to music differed significantly, Mr. Cowell, the avant-garde pianist and composer, and Mr. Copeland had been friends for many years through the League and other associations. Given their familiarity with Mr. Copeland and understanding the moment in history, selecting Appalachian Spring for the Pulitzer Prize likely was an easy decision. The music itself is sublime. It blends melodies, harmonies, and themes that evoke tranquility, energy, community, and optimism. As a piece of Americana, Mr. Copeland has written other scores that qualify. He was commissioned to score movies of John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men and Thornton Wilder's Our Town. His cowboy ballets, Billy the Kid and Rodeo, inspired images of possibility in wide-open American landscapes, just as America was ensnared in World War II. In terms of musicality and the ability to tell a story, however, Appalachian Spring is more than the others. The music highlights Mr. Copeland's ability to make concrete images out of abstract concepts. New York Times dance critic John Martin wrote that the ballet was shining and joyous. On its surface, it fits obviously into the category of early Americana, but underneath it belongs to a much broader and dateless category. It is indeed a kind of testimony to the simple fineness of the human spirit. In addition to beautiful music, Appalachian Spring arrived at a time when the mood in the country is firmly focused on the themes of determination and hope. We're longing to shed the shackles of economic despair and authoritarian rule. Look no further than other recent Pulitzer Prize recipients and citations. John Hersey won the prize for literature for A Bell for Adano, a story of uncomplicated patriotism. Carl Shapiro won the prize for poetry for V-letter and other poems. A V-letter or victory letter is a procedure for sending mail safely and cheaply to and from on-duty soldiers. Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein received a Pulitzer Special Citation for Oklahoma in 1944. This is a farm and frontier musical that continues to wow audiences on Broadway. As an aside, Agnes DeMille choreographed both Oklahoma and Mr. Copeland's Rodeo. And finally, Joe Rosenthal won the Pulitzer Prize for a photo of Marines holding a flag at Iwo Jima, an image that surely will be remembered for generations. In such an atmosphere of American nationalism and adoration for the great outdoors, the selection of Appalachian Spring for the Pulitzer Prize for Music was inevitable. Appalachian Spring is the latest piece of music by one of the leading American composers of our time. It adds to an already full catalog of compositions evoking uniquely American themes of hard work, thrift, and prosperity against a backdrop of beautiful landscapes and open spaces. It arrives at a time when the world has been shattered by depression, war, and fascism, and Americans are longing for peace, tranquility, and renewed opportunity. Appalachian Spring delivers, and the Pulitzer Prize jurist made a timely statement. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. Next week, we'll look at Leonard Bernstein and his amazing and spectacular rise at the New York Philharmonic. For now, this is Peter Blake reporting from Ocracoke Island, North Carolina.